Read IELTS Speaking Part 3, Band 8 Plus Model Answers with examples and counter-arguments. Animals and humans. Why do people keep pets? People often keep pets for emotional companionship. For instance, many elderly people who live alone adopt cats or dogs because they offer unconditional affection and reduce loneliness. Pets can also provide emotional support in stressful situations. Therapy animals are a good example of this. However, not everyone keeps pets for emotional reasons. In rural areas, animals like dogs are often kept for protection or herding, and not as family members. So, motivations can vary depending on culture and context. In what ways can animals be helpful to humans? Animals support human life in both practical and emotional ways. Service animals, like guide dogs for the visually impaired, are perhaps the most visible example. In agriculture, animals such as buffalo or horses are still vital in certain regions for plowing or transportation. On the other hand, some argue that modern technology can now replace animals in many of these roles. For example, machines have replaced animals in most farming activities. While that's true to some extent, the emotional and therapeutic roles of animals remain irreplaceable. What are the benefits and drawbacks of having pets? One clear benefit is emotional well-being. Studies show that pet owners are less likely to suffer from depression. Moreover, pets can teach children responsibility and empathy. However, keeping pets also comes with costs, both financial and emotional. Veterinary care, food, and proper housing can be expensive. Additionally, not all people are suited for the long-term commitment, which sometimes leads to animals being abandoned, especially after trends like pet influencers make exotic pets seem fashionable. Do you think animals can understand human emotions? Yes, there is growing scientific evidence suggesting that animals, particularly domesticated ones, can sense and respond to human emotions. Dogs, for instance, have been observed to show concern when their owners are crying, and even some cats can become more affectionate when their owners are sick or sad. That said, some researchers believe we might be anthropomorphizing, that is, projecting human emotions onto animals. While animals can react to tone or behavior, it doesn't necessarily mean they understand emotions the same way we do. Animal protection. Why are some animal species becoming endangered? Species become endangered mainly due to human actions, deforestation, poaching, and climate change. A good example is the orangutan, whose habitat in Southeast Asia is being destroyed for palm oil plantations. Similarly, rhinos are killed for their horns due to false beliefs in their medicinal value. While natural causes like disease can also contribute, the vast majority of modern extinctions are linked to human activity. Therefore, we bear a significant responsibility to reverse or at least slow down the damage. What can individuals do to help protect animals? Individuals can make a difference through lifestyle choices, choosing cruelty-free products, avoiding zoos with poor conditions, or supporting organizations that protect wildlife. Even small actions like reducing meat consumption or spreading awareness online can add up over time. Some argue that individual actions are too minor to matter without systemic change. That may be true, but grassroots movements often drive policy change. For example, social media campaigns have successfully pressured companies to stop animal testing. Should governments spend money on animal protection or other priorities, like education? It's a matter of balance. Education is undeniably crucial, but ignoring animal protection can have long-term consequences for biodiversity and human survival. For instance, bees play a vital role in pollination, and their decline threatens food security. Critics might argue that with limited budgets, governments should focus on immediate human needs, like healthcare or poverty reduction. While that's valid, investing in environmental conservation is also investing in humanity, because a healthy ecosystem benefits everyone. Zoos and captivity. Do you think zoos are a good place to keep animals? High-quality, well-regulated zoos can serve important functions in conservation, research, and education. For example, the captive breeding program for the giant panda has helped bring the species back from the brink of extinction. However, not all zoos meet high standards. Some prioritize profit over welfare, keeping animals in cramped conditions with little stimulation. In such cases, zoos may do more harm than good and should be reformed or closed. What are the alternatives to keeping animals in zoos? Wildlife reserves and sanctuaries are better in many cases because they allow animals to live in more natural settings while still being protected. For education, technology offers amazing alternatives: virtual safaris, high-definition nature documentaries, and even augmented reality experiences. Still, these alternatives may not offer the same real-world interaction that motivates some people to care about animals. A possible compromise is transforming zoos into open, semi-natural reserves focused solely on conservation and education. Is it ethical to keep wild animals as pets? In general, it's unethical. Wild animals have complex psychological and physical needs that most people can't fulfill at home. For instance, exotic birds or reptiles often suffer due to improper diets or enclosures, leading to stress or premature death. Some might say that if someone can provide proper care, it should be allowed. But even in those cases, it can encourage illegal trafficking, which poses a greater threat to entire species. Technology and animals. How has technology affected how we interact or study animals? Technology has transformed wildlife research. GPS collars allow scientists to track animal movements without disturbing them, and camera traps reveal behaviors that were previously impossible to observe. For example, rare footage of snow leopards has been captured this way. However, reliance on technology might reduce hands-on conservation work. It's important to strike a balance, using tech for insight while still investing in fieldwork and habitat preservation. Do you think using animals in scientific research is acceptable? It depends on the purpose. If it's for life-saving medical research and conducted under strict ethical guidelines, it may be justifiable. For example, many vaccines were developed through animal testing that saved millions of human lives. That said, testing for cosmetics or non-essential products is much harder to defend. With the advancement of alternatives like synthetic testing models, the need for animal testing in many industries is rapidly declining. Should schools include animal welfare in their curriculum? Absolutely! Teaching animal welfare fosters empathy and responsibility in children. It can also raise awareness of environmental issues at an early age. For example, lessons on endangered species can tie into broader topics like deforestation and climate change. Some critics might argue it's a distraction from core subjects like math or science. But I'd argue the opposite. Animal welfare can be integrated into these subjects through real-world examples, making them more engaging and relevant.